Hey, what's happening, you lightly salted Luxray? All of the cards have been released for the Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia sets. The next major sets releasing over in Japan on August 1st. We won't be getting these cards until September 25th, 26th, I believe, in our Mega Evolution set. So we're still like 2 months away from these. Japan gets these cards next week. Same old as far as that goes. That's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be breaking down here today all my thoughts on all the newly revealed cards. I've already taken a look at quite a few of these and have released my thoughts on those already. So we're only going to be going over the newest released cards here that are worth looking at, because they definitely revealed some other cards that are less worth looking at. Mega Camerupt here. Actually, I think I already talked about Mega Camerupt. We're going to skip Mega Camerupt. If I didn't, I apologize. They're giving us another Gimme Ghoul. Still has 70 HP. That is not the name of the attack. I think it's just Slap for 10 damage. Pokebeach likes having some fun sometimes. For Colorless Energy, 10 damage. I guess it is doing something different than the other Gimme Ghouls. I can't think of why you would play this Gimme Ghoul over another one, but I guess it allows you to start to pressure your opponent more aggressively for 10 damage. I think the continuous coin toss Gimme Ghoul will probably always be better. I don't think that one makes the cut. New baby Pokemon here, the Tyrogue Bam Bam Smash for 0 energy. 10 damage, flip a coin. Until you get Tails, the deck does 30 more damage for each heads. This actually, I was kind of cheesy. This isn't terrible. Obviously, we have stuff in the format like the Elekid, and of course, Badoo, and even the Pichu. Elekid does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon in play. It might just be bench Pokemon, actually. I don't know if it can hit the active. And then Pichu does 30 damage to the active, and then you draw a card. So both of those guaranteed 30 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, you're doing 40 damage. If you get 2 heads, you're doing 70 damage. That KOs Ralts, Dreepy, all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know, maybe there is some room for Tyrogue in a deck that doesn't have anything else to do on that first turn going second, or even on the second turn going first, so you may as well try and cheese a KO with the Bam Bam Smash. I don't hate it, to be honest. I don't hate the Bam Bam Smash. We got this Lunatone here, which got leaked a little while ago. I hadn't talked about it yet, though. It's got a really powerful ability. Of course, it's a little bit costly, but it's pretty good overall. Once on your turn, if you have a Soul Rock in play, so that's the costly part, is it takes up 2 bench spaces to really gain the full access to the ability, or to gain access to the ability. So you have to have the Lunatone in play and the Soul Rock. I don't think we're playing this in an Area 0 deck, so that also is going to hurt us as far as the bench space goes. You may discard a basic Fighting Energy card from your hand in order to use the ability. Draw 3 cards. You can't use more than 1 Lunar Cycle ability each turn. So that's pretty powerful. Discarding a basic Fighting Energy, you'd be playing it in a Fighting Energy deck, of course, and then drawing 3 cards is pretty good. So very powerful ability. There's a pretty big cost to it, though, and that's losing those 2 bench spaces in order to have both these Pokemon set up. They're also decent HP as well. They have 110 HP, so they're not getting picked off easily by like excess spread damage from something like a Dragapult over like a single turn or anything like that. So that's also something to point out, I think, as well here. I guess you can't Buddy Poffin for them, so maybe that's kind of a negative. Positive is they're going to stick around a little bit longer. They don't just kind of get collateraled by like some light spread damage. The con is, of course, you can't Buddy Poffin for them. So I guess, if I had to bet, I would say being up to Buddy Poffin for them would probably be better, to be honest. And of course, this probably synergizes with the Mega Lucario EX pretty well. I've already talked about this one, but I'll go over it again. The Aura Jab attack from the Mega Lucario says, for a single Fighting Energy, you do 130 damage. Attach up to 3 basic Fighting Energy cards from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So getting energy into the discard pile while drawing cards is pretty good to then synergize with the Aura Jab of the Mega Lucario EX, of course. Up next, I've talked about Absol before. We have a Spiritomb here, which has an interesting ability. Whenever your active Dark Pokemon is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on the attacking Pokemon. And it's not limited to only 1 use per turn or per attack. So you could have 4 Spiritomb on your bench. Your opponent knocks out your active Dark Pokemon, and they take 4 damage counters. So an ability like this would come up when you're playing a Dark deck, and your opponent's Pokemon keep living by like 10 or 20 damage. So by putting one of these on your bench, your opponent takes a knockout on your big active Pokemon that you have set up, that's your attacker. They take that 10 damage, and then you set up another Dark Pokemon, probably the same one, and then you knock them out now that they're in range of an effective one-hit KO thanks to Spiritomb's ability. So something to think about, something to look out for, but it'd be like a very niche inclusion in Dark decks for like a specific matchup. Not going to be like a constant in every single Dark deck that you see moving on out from here. There is this Tinkaton here. I don't think I talked about this one. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve on your Pokemon during your turn, you may use this ability, flip a coin of heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. I don't know, maybe some weird kind of cheese control deck. There could be some value with this. It does synergize with the Tinkaton coming out, or this one's a Tinkatuff. I think I called it Tinkaton. It does synergize with the Tinkaton coming out in the set, which does, for a single Metal Energy, 240 damage. This attack does 60 damage less for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So, get some Tinkatuffs, discard some energy, get some Crushing Hammers involved, discard some more energy, and then we can be hitting for like 240 damage with the Tinkaton. Also, works with Genesect DX that just came out in the black and white sets. Searches for those evolution metal Pokemon. So you can play like a 4-4-4 line of Tinkaton. Maybe you still want some Arcanies to be more aggressive with the Tinkaton, but you have constant aggressive access to your Tinkatuffs as well. Could be a cool meme deck. I think probably nothing besides that. This could actually be some part of like a control deck, because you could like kind of Turo loop the Tinkatuff and then constantly get access to the Surprise Hammer instead of just like recovering Crushing Hammers, which might be better. I don't know how we do one or the other, to be honest, so I don't really have a strong opinion on the best way to play this in some kind of control deck. Maybe I'm just overthinking. Maybe it would be terrible in some kind of control deck, but I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but by itself could be a fun meme deck. Got a new Golden Glow coming out. All you can grab, flip a coin until you get tails. Search your deck for a number of cards up to the number of heads. Put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck for a single colorless energy. And then for metal colorless does 100 damage. This probably doesn't ever find a home in a Golden Go deck. I don't think. The other non-EX Golden Go is way better as an aggressive attacker. The all you can grab attack is just kind of a waste of a gimme ghoul more so than anything. So yeah, don't expect anything from this Golden Go in future Golden Go decks. I don't know. Maybe I'm like underthinking it though. There might be something out there, I guess. Got a Gumshoos here with a pretty good ability, but it is on a stage 1. Once on your turn, you may use this ability, switch a card from your hand to with the top card of your deck. So the reason this is good, and we've seen this be effective in the past with an Oranguru that had a similar ability, Primate Wisdom, I think, was the name of that ability. Primate Wisdom. Yeah, Instruct was the other Oranguru, so it must have been Primate Wisdom. Primate Wisdom did the exact same thing. Took a card from your hand, put it on top of your deck, and then that would help protect you against Marnie specifically back then. This could help protect you from Iono. The only thing is it's a stage 1. That's a little bit awkward to set up, but I could see this finding a home in more aggressive decks to be able to combat Iono in the mid-late game, to be able to constantly put a very powerful card on top of your deck from your hand to increase your odds of having a very powerful turn on the following turn. It also does have 100 HP, which means you could actually search it out with Fan Rotom as well. So you could like get the Young Goose and the Gumshoos as 2 of your Fan Rotom searches. So maybe there's something there, probably not. It being on a stage 1 kind of kills the card. If it was on a basic though, I think we would definitely see some play in more aggressive decks or like situational decks. I guess like also would be good in stuff like Miraidon with Electric Generator if it was a basic. It being a stage 1, I don't think you'd want to try and fit this in your Miraidon deck. Yeah. Up next, we got the Iron Defender item card. During your opponent's next turn, all of your metal Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. This includes new Pokemon that came into play. Also, I guess if your opponent, like Erica's Invitations of Pokemon into play, it takes 30 less damage still. And I believe, I mean, as far as reading this goes, you can stack these. So you can play 4 Iron Defender, and then your metal Pokemon during your next turn would take 120 damage less. So once again, kind of like the Spiritomb, like this is like a very matchup specific type card that you'd want to include only if that matters for a certain matchup in the format for your metal deck. I don't know if you just like neutrally play 4 of these in like every metal deck. Maybe you play a couple of them. Depends how much access you have to it. If you have like a deck with Arvin that can kind of pick these out of the deck when you want them. Pidgeot as well would be a shout there, but I guess Pidgeot's not a metal Pokemon. If you're playing these in a deck, you'd probably want your whole bench to be metal Pokemon. But yeah, you could stack a couple of these and play on a turn, avoid a 1-hit KO or an effect or 2-hit KO from your opponent, and then regain control of the prize trade from there, kind of like limiting your opponent's turn or something like that. So solid card, but like I said, super matchup specific. Even if you're just playing a metal deck, I don't think you'd guaranteed play some or any of these in a metal deck. We got the Fighting Gong here, and this is what I predicted for fighting Pokemon. I was like, if they're giving us this Hariyama, I think they're going to give us another way to find fighting Pokemon that's like exclusive to fighting Pokemon. And we do have the Fighting Gong here. Search your deck for a basic fighting Pokemon or a basic fighting energy, reveal it and put your hand, then shuffle your deck. This obviously has synergy as well with the Lunatone and the Solrock as well. The flexibility to find those Pokemon and then also find the basic fighting energy for them is super strong. And like I said, for the Hariyama, if you didn't watch my video on the Hariyama, we do already have Hop's Dubwool in format, which is a stage 1 with a Gust ability when it comes into play. They also printed this Hariyama, which is also a fighting Pokemon, which has the exact same ability. Once in your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. So same thing as Hop's Dubwool, but it's fighting instead of colorless. So I predicted that we're going to be getting some way to interact with fighting Pokemon, and we do get it here with the Fighting Gong. We got the Repel here, which is half of a escape rope or warp point. Your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. We've seen this card before. It's been okay in the past. And we might still see it be played here in the future for sure. It's nothing too crazy, nothing too powerful, especially when we know for sure there's a certain card sticking around that I'll talk about here at the end of the revealed cards. Lieutenant Surge's Dealings. This is a really interesting card. I don't think it'll see play. It's another take on a draw for supporter. Ask your opponent if both players may draw a prize card. If yes, both players draw a prize card. If no, you draw 4 cards. So really interesting card. But yeah, like I said, I don't think we'll see the C play because how often would it be fine for you both to draw a prize card is questionable and probably super matchup dependent. If your opponent is just drawing prize cards faster than you, you basically can never play this. If you're drawing prize cards faster than your opponent, I guess you could play it, but that's not every matchup. So maybe in some kind of like aggressive deck, this would be good. Because then just if they say no, you just get to draw 4 cards, which is like a pretty good card draw to build on your hand with. So yeah, I don't have high hopes for this card. It's cool. It's a little cheesy. It's a little weird. It'd be really cool if it did find a home in a specific type of deck as a 4-of that's actually competitive, because it'd make for some interesting gameplay for sure. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and predict that this card is not going to be competitive at all. Talked about Liz's Determination in the past. Super powerful draw card coming out. We got the Dangerous Ruins here. Whenever either player puts a non-dark basic Pokemon onto their bench, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. This is interesting because it says on their bench, not from their hand. Usually cards like this are worded from the hand. So that means even if you nest ball for a non-dark basic Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on it, which definitely is a pretty big difference. Also Buddy Poffin as well. If you play Buddy Poffin, you'd be taking 2 damage counters. I like seeing this change to this style of card, because in the past, these cards have always just been terrible because people will just kind of cheat their Pokemon into play, or whatever you want to say. They wouldn't play them from their hand. They would nest ball for them, Buddy Poffin for them, completely avoid this card ever having any kind of effect. So I like this change in the wording of the card to actually make it more powerful. With that said, though, this stadium is still probably not great, but I'm glad that it is at least a little bit more interesting this time around. It's not an exact reprint of anyone that I can think of, but there's been a lot of cards like that in the past. Up next, we got this Meganium here with a pretty powerful ability. Each grass energy attached to your Pokemon provides 2 instead of 1. You can't apply more than 1 wild growth ability at a time. So yeah, really powerful ability. It is on a stage 2, but that's not as daunting as it might seem once we get to the trainer cards. And yeah, the initial way that I thought of maybe playing this is like, what if you just played this with a bunch of Teal Mask Ogerpons, and like turn 1, you try and get as many Teal Mask Ogerpons in play as possible, start accelerating energy, maybe play some E-switches, and then, you know, set this thing up eventually and they're hitting that much harder. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something else. It seems like there will be probably some more options with this card and more options moving forward as we get through the rest of these cards here. We got the Shuckle here. Once your turn, if this Pokemon has any grass energy attached, you may use this ability, heal 30 damage from one of your Pokemon. Solid ability, nothing crazy. Once again, would be a super matchup specific type ability where you'd want to include this card in a deck. I can't think of the matchup off the top of my head, but you know, something worth thinking about, keeping around. It'll definitely make my buy list whenever I go through that for the Mega Evolution set. What do we have next? We have the Mega Abomasnow EX here. For 2 water energy, Avalanche Hammer. 100 damage times the amount of energy you discard off the top of your deck. Or how should I always read these by saying the 100 damage times. Avalanche Hammer. Discard the top 6 cards of your deck. This attack does 100 damage for each basic water energy card you discarded in this way. So possibly 600 damage, possibly 0 damage. And I can't think of, there might be though. I guess like with the Gumshoes, this would be something, but that only guarantees you 100 damage. Is there a better way to guarantee cards on top of your deck right now? Not that I can think of. I feel like every time I say that though, I'm gonna wait for what you guys say in the comments, because you guys probably know more cards than I do, or it feels like way. Whenever I say I can't think of a way to combo this with anything, there's always like a bunch of ideas that get put in the comment section. So let me know, what am I missing about Mega Abomasnow EX? What else can we combo to make the Avalanche Hammer work more consistently, to be able to do big numbers like 200, 300, 400 damage to one-hit KO other Mega Pokemon? And then for 3 water, Frost Barrier, 200 damage during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attack. So the second attack's not great. The first attack also only requires 2 water energy. So like, obviously water Pokemon, whenever you see a water Pokemon, you think Baxcalibur, but I don't think we'd have to run this with Baxcalibur because it's pretty efficient to set up. Just attach, and we're attacking. We got 350 HP ourselves. Like, I think we'll be in an okay spot. But the question really is just, how are we actually going to be able to consistently do damage with the Avalanche Hammer? I'm actually not sure, to be honest. I'm not sure about that one. We got the Clawser here. Once on your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the active spot to the bench, you may use this ability attached to 2 basic water energy cards from your hand to this Pokemon. This Pokemon moves from your active to the bench. Yeah. And then water. Aqua Launcher, 210, discard all energy from this Pokemon. Yeah, so nothing crazy here. This card's, this is pretty mid. Honestly, I just hadn't read this one before. I was like, ooh, it's got an ability. Let's read the ability. It's like, well, it's not very good. But we're getting to the good stuff now as we get closer to these trainer cards. We got a Raiku here for double lightning. It does 30 damage. If you have at least 4 light energy in play, this attack does 90 more damage. So 120, not terrible, but you do need 4 lightning energy in play. If we're doing 120 damage, and that's pretty good, we may as well, and we have access to be putting 4 energy in play, we may as well just punch something with Iron Hands. So not great, I don't think, but definitely something to think about as a one-prize Pokemon inclusion in like a Miraidon deck, or I guess maybe a Mega Manetric deck, as we have Mega Manetric here, with the Flash Ray attack for 2 lightning, 120 during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon, so pretty good first attack. But it's really all about that Riot Blaster here for triple lightning energy. You may discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 130 more damage on top of 200. That's 330 damage that KOs Dragapult, Gardevoir, Charizard. We are coming a little bit short on other Mega Pokemon besides like Mega Manetric. Mega Manetric has 330, but I'm sure there's some tool cards we could play with this to increase our damage. But if you look at the Abomasnow or anything like that, we're coming up a little bit short, the 350. But I'm sure that can be fixed. Either some early game attacking to set up for a 2-hit KO, or like I said, maximum belt possibly. Then we're looking at a lot. We're looking at 380 damage. Nothing's really surviving at a 380 hit from the Mega Manetric. So this card seems pretty solid for sure. Gonna have to hold out and see. But it is also weak to fighting, which is not great to have as a weakness usually in the PokemonTCG, but always depends. Fighting decks haven't been good for a while. Okay, keep going here. I've talked about the Alakazam line, I think, and if I haven't, I apologize. Seems mid, could be a good meme deck, though. Talked about the Latias for sure. There's the Mega Kangaskhan. I haven't talked about this one yet on the channel. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may use the ability to draw 2 cards. You can't use more than 1 run errand ability each turn. And then the attack, nothing special here. 3 colorless energy, 200 damage, flip a coin until you get tails. The attack does 50 more damage for each heads. The attack's like whatever. It's really all about the ability as like a support Pokemon. Now it does have 3 retreat costs, so it doesn't work with Air Balloon, but we do have Latias EX in the format still, of course, and it doesn't rotate with rotation. So these 2 cards will be a combo for a while where you can push up the Mega Kangaskhan EX after your active Pokemon gets KO'd. You have Latias on your bench. You could draw with Mew EX, and then draw with Pheasantipity, and then draw with Mega Kangaskhan EX, and then use Latias to retreat this back to your bench. Now, it is a 3-prize Pokemon sitting on your bench. It's got a little bit less HP than the other Megas, because it is a basic, only the 300 HP, but +2 draw every time one of your active Pokemon gets KO'd. I don't know, that seems pretty good. Definitely seems decent as some draw support for sure, the Mega Kangaskhan EX. We'll see how that one plays out. And it feels like it only really combos with Latias. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head. Like, you kind of have to play it in the Latias deck. So it'll be probably played in more aggressive decks. Slower decks probably will not be trying to take advantage of this. But yeah, it seems decent. I guess maybe some kind of weird, like you play Latias and Dragapult right now. You push Badoo, you item lock them, they KO your Badoo. You push up Mega Kangaskhan, you draw with Fez, you draw with Mega Kangaskhan, you Latias retreat back to another Badoo. Probably too much bench space at that point. You don't really want Latias in play either. It's just kind of, if you need it, you put it in play type of situation for Dragapult. All right, we're getting to the trainer cards here. Here are the big ones. Well, not this one, though. I don't actually know what this one works with, but like as always, let me know, comment section down below. What is this card combo with that would make it good? De-evolve one of your evolved psychic Pokemon by returning any number of evolution cards onto it to your hand. That Pokemon can't evolve this turn. You may play as many items as you like during your turn. So you can de-evolve one of your Pokemon that is an evolved Pokemon. You could, like if you had a Gardevoir setup, you could take away the Gardevoir, or you could take away the Gardevoir and the Kirlia. But then you can't evolve it during that turn. When is this working? What are we doing with this? What is happening here? How are we getting value out of this card? Only psychic Pokemon as well. Is there like some psychic Pokemon that like says when you evolve it, discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon or something? It's like a Banette that does something like that I'm like not thinking. There's nothing in this set that it combos with, right? Now I'm going to go back. Let's see the Grumpig. Once your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy cards you find their to your Pokemon any way you like. So it's for the Grumpig. It's for the Grumpig. Okay, well, it's at least for Grumpig. It could be for other stuff as well. I was like, this card... Oh, you could play with the... I don't know if we're using it with Alakazam, because Alakazam, I don't think we want to de-evolve. We want to keep that thing evolved. But maybe you could play it in Alakazam as well. Okay, it's kind of coming together here a little bit. Is there any psychic Pokemon in this set that would synergize with? I don't think so. I mean, it's probably set specific because it did release in the other set. Wait, is there no psychic? Oh, there. Oh, it's a Gimmighoul. That's the only psychic Pokemon in that set. Okay. There are some cards in this set that it does synergize with. I think the Grumpig, there's a little bit more synergy than the Alakazam because you probably want to keep your Alakazams most of the time. It's going to be hard to have that many Alakazams. But for the Grumpig, okay, a little bit of energy. Suspicious Clock plus Grumpig energy acceleration engine going on. Okay, I see it. I see the vision. Finally, this is what I was talking about with the Meganium Lush Forest. Each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into another grass Pokemon during the turn they play those Pokemon. Players can't evolve a basic Pokemon during their first turn. Wait, can't evolve a basic Pokemon during their first turn. Now, I've seen 2 translations of this, actually. I've seen the players can't evolve a basic Pokemon and players can't evolve their Pokemon during their first turn. So I actually just don't know if this is the correct translation or not. I usually trust PokeBeach's translations, but they've been wrong in the past, of course. I'm not expecting them to be 100% right, but I actually don't know for sure how this card functions. But assuming it's just basic Pokemon, then you could play something like Salvatore, and you could Salvatore from a basic to a stage 1, and then use Lush Forest to go from a stage 1 to a stage 2. But if it's any Pokemon, then you can't do that. That wouldn't be possible, because you can't, even if you went Salvatore from a basic to a stage 1, the stage 1 still wouldn't be able to evolve, because it would say during your turn, your first turn, you can't evolve anything. But super powerful stadium card for anyone who played back in the day. It's not even like back in the day. It's like back in the day, but there's like back in the day. There used to be broken time space back in the day, which allowed any Pokemon on the first turn, second turn, third turn to evolve at any point as much as they want. That rotated eventually. Then we got Giant Force of Giant Plants, which is the exact same card, but limited to just grass Pokemon. Now, this is another iteration of that Turbo Evolution Stadium. This one is limited to just grass Pokemon. Again, like Giant Force of Giant Plants. That was a forest and there was a lot of plants. But you can't use it on the first turn. So they're trying to limit that turn 1 explosiveness, which I do like. I do like that fix to the stadium. Limit the turn 1 explosiveness, but then from there, it's, full free reign to evolve your grass Pokemon in any way you like, as fast as you want at that point. So super powerful stadium. Is what I was saying with the Meganium. This makes Meganium a lot better, for sure. Because being able to just evolve up through your Pokemon lines, you don't have to find the combo of Rare Candy plus Meganium. Just play like a 3-3-3 line of Meganium. Ultra Balls, there's way more synergy with that. As soon as you find the stadium, of course. Now, you're probably playing 4 of these, though, to get there. And this also opens up a bunch of different options for a bunch of different grass Pokemon. Hydrapple EX, maybe. That could get in there. The Venusaurs that are coming out in this set as well. And all grass Pokemon in the future, of course, are going to be balanced around this card's existence, I'm sure. But we'll definitely see grass Pokemon back on the map in a big way with this stadium release, for sure. Surfing Beach, pretty powerful stadium here as well. Interesting stadium, I would say. I like this stadium. Once during each player's turn, the player may switch their active water Pokemon with one of their bench water Pokemon. Once again, besides that terrible Clawitzer that we just read, and I feel like if I'm wrong and Clawitzer becomes like an S tier, broken tier 1 deck, like what the heck? Besides the terrible Clawitzer that we just read, I don't think there's anything that this synergizes with overly. Coming out of this set, I mean, being able to move from Chien-Pao to Chien-Pao is like not that big of a deal. That's like the only other thing I can think of. Like if you go, oh, Chien-Pao uses its ability, go to a new Chien-Pao, use its ability. Sure, that's not that big of a deal. We have Air Balloon in the format. Who cares? But yeah, let me know what I'm missing here with this one. Is there any other cards that actually seem like truly real powerful combos? Not Clawitzer combos. I'm talking about real combos. Meta changing, broken, competitive deck changing combos. All right, let me know. Comment section down below. And that's it. That's all the new cards revealed, with the reveal of all the new cards, though. And I don't think it's anywhere here on this article. Oh, wait, it is. We got the, I don't know, good news, bad news. Some people don't really care. A lot of you who are probably listening to this video are newer to the game, so you don't have as strong of an opinion or feeling about this. But Boss's Orders, Rare Candy, Ultra Ball, and there was like another card, I think. I don't remember what the other card was. Boss's Order, I think it was Energy Switch, maybe. Were all confirmed to get updated regulation marks moving forward. That's right. I've been talking about it for a little while. I was pretty confident Boss's Orders would be rotating with next rotation, but it isn't. I didn't really have a strong of an opinion about stuff like Rare Candy. I think Rare Candy is probably a fine card. I think Ultra Ball is also a fine card. Unconditional kind of Pokemon search, but it's not really unconditional. Usually it kind of feels bad to be playing Ultra Ball in most decks, and you want to be playing other Pokemon search cards anyways. So I don't really care personally that Ultra Ball is still legal personally. It never felt like boring gameplay to me. Same thing with Professor's Research. Now, Professor's Research has not been confirmed to be reprinted. I think Professor's Research, especially with the printing or the reveal of Lily's Determination, I would predict that Professor's Research would still be rotating for sure. Now, who knows? I was saying that about Boss's Orders as well. But I also feel like that way about Professor's Research as well. I don't really mind if they reprinted Professor's Research. I wouldn't really feel one way or another about it, to be honest, because I don't think it really has a huge impact on like gameplay consistently in the Pokemon TCG. A lot of decks, most decks don't play Professor's Research. It doesn't feel like every deck has Professor's Research. It feels like less than more decks have Professor's Research, and it doesn't feel like it leads to like super boring gameplay super consistently. I feel the same way about Ultra Ball as well, although it is kind of like a catch-all Pokemon search card. The having to discard 2 cards always feels pretty bad, and you're always looking to try and play other Pokemon search cards to make your deck more powerful. So I don't mind the reprinting of Ultra Ball either. Boss's Orders, on the other hand, now I don't hate Boss's Orders as a card. I don't hate the gameplay that it brings to the game overall either, but it's just getting a little bit boring at this point, where most decks have the win condition of boss for game. A lot of decks, most decks, all decks, it feels that way, have the win condition of boss for game. And it's not that that is a terrible thing to exist in the Pokemon TCG, but we've had it for so long now. I was kind of excited just to see a switch up in the way the game feels. Boss's Orders feels like the #1 culprit in making every deck feel the same in a way. Like I said, Boss's Orders for game is just a big deal. Every deck tries to take advantage of it, or most decks do. You know, like, I mean, I guess Gardevoir doesn't play boss, they play counter catcher, but it might be a little bit of the outlier there. Basically, every other deck, every other attacking deck, Boss's Orders for game is like a win condition. So I was excited for things to just kind of switch up. Not that I hate Boss's Orders, not that I think the gameplay is terrible when Boss's Orders is legal, but just having things switch up now and then, maybe 3 years on, 3 years off from Boss's Orders, but Boss's Orders will be confirmed being around for 3 more years. Hopefully it rotates after that, just for a switch up, It's not even that I hate it. You know, I just want things to change. I want things to be different. For some of you who are newer, you might not feel this way at all because you've gotten to the game so recently. You haven't had to play with Boss's Orders for, it's been a long time. Okay, it's just been a long time. I just want things to be a little bit different, things to change a little bit. But that's it. That's all the new cards. Let me know what you think about them in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think about Boss's Orders being confirmed, being reprinted. Also, Ultra Ball. Did any of you, I saw some opinions about Ultra Ball as well on Twitter. I never felt this way about Ultra Ball. Personally, I feel like people talked about it less as well. Boss has always been the #1 card talked about in that way of just like, here we go, the same card over and over again. Yeah, some people were kind of feeling, I feel like some people had that kind of, were feeling that kind of way about Ultra Ball as well. But let me know, comment section down below, and yeah, catch y'all in the next video.